Hi everyone, I'm Robin Tuohy, Senior Director of Support Groups for the International Myeloma Foundation. And I'm leading a group of 11 support group leaders through ASH every day. We have a very challenging schedule, but we're excited to see all of the different programs. So the leaders came in on Friday and we had an orientation and we discussed what our daily programs would consist of. And on Friday, we started out with the IMF Symposium, which is really one of the primers to find out what's going on in the world of myeloma. And there are case discussions with doctors talking about things from diagnosis and various treatment approaches. Of course, lots on MRD and relapse, current and future options in the late relapse setting. So that was really interesting to hear, and that replay is available on the IMF website. One of the things that I found really exciting there was just looking at the room filled with probably close to 1,000 different researchers from all over the world interested in learning about myeloma and hearing the different doctors' approaches to how you would treat certain patients and why, and the differences in why. So again, it makes us all remember that myeloma is very unique, but it's also very individual for each one of us. So to have these shared conversations with our entire healthcare team to talk about what's good for you and your myeloma, I think that's a key takeaway for me. Another thing that we did on Saturday, we were treated to snow in Atlanta. I'm sure a lot of you have been hearing about that. We attended that night a very, very, very special night. It's called the IMF Patient Stories and Grants Award. And that night brings together researchers, the top myeloma doctors, donors, and the doctors that are receiving junior and senior grant awards, and then patients that are actually on these very new and novel treatments, and they get up and they share their stories on how is this working for me and how do I live well with these different treatments and how do I manage my side effects and try to actually forget about myeloma. And so that was a beautiful evening, and then being able for these patients to also talk to these researchers and seeing young researchers maybe for the first time actually meeting a myeloma patient. And we encouraged them to continue in the field of myeloma with their research, because who knows, maybe their research will someday provide us with a cure. And so if you can imagine that magic happening in a room, that's a lot of hope for all of our futures. And so we've also been attending lots of educational programs and oral sessions. There was a really interesting session, for the first time I've ever heard anyway, on myeloma and the vaccine flu, and on myeloma and the flu vaccine, and why it's important for myeloma patients to have that flu vaccine. And so I think you should all talk to your doctors about that. It's really not too late. Right now it's early December. It's not too late to be getting that flu vaccine, so if you have not gotten it, again, myeloma is so individual, but I would highly encourage you to have that really good conversation with your doctor. And so today is Monday, and I'm referring to this as Myeloma Madness Monday because we have simultaneous presentations, education programs. Right now there's one going on should smoldering be treated? And that's going to be given by Ola Landgren, and I think that we've all heard a lot about smoldering and high risk, and now there are options to see if we can maybe stop the smoldering myeloma from becoming myeloma. That's very, very exciting. And then there's another one on molecular remission, and is that the goal? And I think that's one of those, how hard do we treat and how hard do we push down on the myeloma? And another session on continuous versus a fixed treatment, and how long is that duration. And I know a lot of you out there that are maybe in the relapse setting and you're on a maintenance therapy, thinking about the tests we have using MRD as well as PET CT scans to decide within years. Obviously we can't know today or tomorrow what's best for each of us to stay on maintenance or not, but how deep of a remission can we get, and using the best tests out there to stay on continuous or a fixed duration type of treatment. So some of the other things I'm excited to look at today, right after this video, there's lots of combinations being updated with Ninlaro and Velcade, Revlimid, Palm, Kyprolis. Elotuzumab has a few this year, and of course daratumumab. And I think in the next hour there's one on subcutaneous daratumumab. So a lot of us have been really excited to hear about subQ dara, how it can work, and maybe can we avoid those long infusion times. That would be really wonderful. And big excitement throughout the program has been CAR T. Lots of doctors talking on CAR T, so I'm not going to get into all of these intricate details because I know the IMF is interviewing lots of doctors, and they're the ones that we always want to look to get their expert opinions. I'm just trying to share an overview on what I'm excited on as a 17-year myeloma caregiver and what I've seen over the years. Tonight, this is what I'm very excited on. The IMWG Live Concert Series, that's going to be featuring Dr. Joseph McHale, Dr. Brian Dory, and Dr. Paul Richardson, and they're going to really talk about a summary of the news from ASH, the trends that have been coming out from ASH. And to me, after I take all my notes from the last 5 days of listening to all the oral presentations, this is the culmination of what I will really review and bring back to my support group back home in Connecticut and when I come and visit the different support groups across the country. So I hope all of you are tuning in and listening to all the different support group leaders, reading their blogs, listening to the video blogs, and following them on Twitter. We're really live reporting peer-to-peer to you from what we really feel is important and what's to go home and to be hopeful about throughout the next year. So thanks everyone. It's kind of long, huh?